Kia EV6, count your motherfucking days.
I regret buying my Tesla. Never thought I would say this, but it messed up today. The screen has stopped working.
Look at all these people over here, bro. Look. Everything you do drains the battery. It's the worst car I've ever had in my life.
Don't buy electric cars. They are not worth it. They are such a trap. They are just money pits.
All right, so we got a good one. People are regretting buying electric vehicles. I mean, between policy shifts and charging problems and never knowing like how far you got to go. And if you ever go on a long trip, it can be a real problem. I want to hear from all y'all. Comment down below on your electric car problems or thoughts, and let's get right into it.
This is a PSA for anybody considering getting an electric vehicle. Don't. Just don't. That's all I can say. Dumbest shit I've ever done. Worst decision I've ever made. Be $1,500 a month for a car that I can't drive because I'm never fucking charged. Because this is modern day Hunger Games. This is Hunger Games. You have to wait for 2 hours to get a charge. People are quite literally fighting at chargers. They're always broken. The infrastructure for these cars is non-existent. I would rather pay $200 for a tank of gas than to ever have to waste my time doing what I'm doing right now. I want to file a class action. I think we should all get together and sue these motherfuckers. I'm suing everybody. Suing everybody. Electrify America, ChargePoint, Mercedes, Elon, just because he's weird. All you guys, give me gas. Let's go back to the normal times. Don't get an electric vehicle.
You know, the first time I saw those electric vehicle, Tesla charging stations, with the little adapters on the end, I was like, those will never last 10 minutes on the west side of Pensacola. All the scrappers, all the guys gonna sell the copper out of those wires. I was like, how are you gonna keep them from just cutting the plug and running off with it, or cutting the wire off and running off with it? I mean, Lowe's can't keep an air compressor tire adapter for like more than a couple of days. Every time I go to get free air over there, that somebody's already cut it off and took off with it. You've got all these problems with infrastructure between politicians. Do you remember go research how long it took them to figure out what outlet plugs were going to be standardized across the world back in the day? That used to be a real problem. We're seeing the same thing with electric car plugs, because every one of them have a different standard that needs to be charged, and then they have a different adapter, and then they want to sell the adapter, and some of these public charging stations are only going to have the ones that the government's subsidizing. And I said from the beginning, I wouldn't mind an electric car, but I was like, if I go on a trip, I have to go from charging station to charging station. I don't know if the next administration is going to change their tune and go from gas back to electric and electric back to gas. Like, what are semi trucks? The infrastructure in the city will not facilitate that much electricity. I mean, it's just math. Basic electricity, basic amperage to the lines. If everybody switched to all electric on the west side of Pensacola and in most cities, especially when you go across the railroad tracks, no way it'll happen. It'll pull too much electricity. If you have 2 charging stations in each house, plus 100 to 400 amps on each house, the infrastructure is not going to allow it. And especially if we move to semi-trucks on electricity, fully electric semi-trucks, the amount they would draw on the grid, there's no way. Politicians did not even think this out, and now we're kind of in a mess, and people are seeing they're in a mess. They took the tax deduction, and for the most part, without the tax subsidies, most of these electric car manufacturers would be upside down. I think probably all of them. And then it would be kind of like, what are we actually talking about? Most of the standards, most of the problems on gas cars are because of all the emission standard regulations. Go ask any car manufacturer why they can't produce a cheap car, and it's because of all the emission controls.
And here's why you should never, ever, ever own a stupid Tesla. Because charging stations, a rush hour, they get full, and then you gotta wait a half hour, 45 minutes, sometimes an hour to get a spot to charge your stupid electric car. And then when it's hot, you gotta run the AC when you're sitting in this turd, and it takes twice as long to charge. So yeah, Tesla, you suck. Worst car ever. The worst possible car in the history of mankind. There you have it. I gotta go waste my life in this car and wait another 15-20 minutes for this stupid thing to charge. I hate it. I hate this car.
Dude, I think I'm gonna sell my Tesla. I got this car in 2020 when I moved back to LA, and I was so scared of getting into a car accident. I was like, I just want a self-driving car. Once the technology is all good, I'm just gonna use it. I'm investing in my safety and my future, and I don't want to leave anything to human error. But no, I'm gonna die, mofos, because Elon Musk is freaking crazy and erratic, and I don't trust this piece of software. This is not a car. This is a piece of software. Like, the wheels and crap, everything is fine. You can replace your wheels, but you're paying. Now my life is determined on every software update, whether there's some bug in it that someone didn't carefully check because Elon Musk is just in a rush and being stupid and erratic. Every time the software updates, you have to relearn where all the buttons are on this touchscreen, so it just feels like I'm playing with the touchscreen every single time I drive and I come home to California. I'm like, oh my gosh, where's the temperature control now?
A deep rabbit hole is, where's all the data going from all these cars? People have said for many years that Tesla is actually a giant AI machine, and it's just driving around all day collecting data to get smarter and smarter, and one day Tesla will be one giant AI platform. I do think the idea of self-driving cars, just going around everywhere, is awesome because there's some crazy drivers out there. But I do think robo-taxis will be here in the future. It just makes sense unless the streets are too dangerous and they keep messing with the robo-taxis to the point where it's not feasible. Amazon is finding that out with the delivery, drone delivery. That is so many people are messing with those drones. One, half the people just throw rocks at it because they're cave dwellers, and the other half are like, I don't trust it. And then the other ones are trying to steal the drones. The others are just trying to steal the drones. Like, it's wild.
We had a young kid that loved a car, bought it, drove home to another state, called us the next day and had buyer's remorse. And in the car business, you buy a car, you drive it away, deal's done. So I'm going to call him to just figure this thing out. You've been talking to everybody and your dad's called in. I figured I'd take a turn and work something out, man. I don't want you to feel like we're not taking care of you, but I also want to make sure that we're being treated fairly. I don't think you need to be in a bad spot. I don't think we need to be in a bad spot. Did you just like, oh crap, I shouldn't have bought an electric car?
The car is great. I love the car. There's nothing wrong with it except for the charging. It's a deal breaker for me, honestly. I don't have my own home. I live in an apartment, so there's no way to charge at my house. My parents don't want to put one because they don't have any electric vehicles, and then I don't want to stop every hour and a half and charge my car for 30 minutes when I could just fill it up in 10 and get triple the range.
That stuff was true before you owned a car. Those are all facts, whether you owned the car or not. So I'm just trying to understand how we got there after you bought it.
I've driven a gas car my whole life on the highway. Gas cars get better mileage for the most part. And so I was under that same impression. It was the complete opposite for me, you know?
Yeah, I've been driving an EV every day for the last 7 years. It does take longer to charge. It does fill up with gas, no question about it. But I save so much money on gas, it's worth it to me.
I probably would get pretty used to it if I kept the car, but I just don't think I'm willing to make that conversion at this point in my life. I will admit I didn't fully understand what I was getting into.
I want to try and work something out specific that can work for you and for us.
I don't want to feel like I have to buy a car from you guys. I don't want to feel like obligated.
If you want to have this work out for you in some way, you do have to buy a car from us. I'm not just going to take the car back, dude, and say, sorry, Andrew, you're 19, you made a mistake, wish you the best. You're going to ask me to lose thousands of dollars because you didn't do your homework? That's not fair to us. You need to take some responsibility here. You don't just get to return a car after driving it however many miles and days and changing your mind, getting cold feet. That's not how it works. That's not how the law works. That's not how business works. And that's not fair to us. We don't have to do anything.
I feel like to have an electric car, it's got to fit into your schedule. It's got to fit in your routine. I personally hate going to the gas station. I feel like there's an altercation to happen, and that's where they happen, at gas stations. I would much rather come home, stick it into the wall. I don't have an electric car. I haven't seen the return on it yet. I need a pickup truck. Haven't seen a good electric pickup truck. But I do wonder with the depreciation of an electric car, I mean, the batteries, like, those are so expensive to try to fix. But I have a buddy, he's a neighbor that has a Tesla. He loves it. He loves the idea that he doesn't have to do oil changes and he can just, you know, plug in and go. But when we have gone on a long trip, you know, a lot of times, you know, if we're caravanning, we keep going after we fill up, and he's got to sit there and recharge for 30 or 40 minutes, which he's fine with. He'll just go to a Busy Bee, he'll grab a sandwich while it's charging, but there has to be enough available chargers, and that's all all a question. I guess it's got to be part of your personal routine, if it's cool or not. Shifts in some of these administrations. I mean, it seems like every 8 years we get a new set of guidelines of what's going to happen in the future, so it's hard to prep. If I'm going to keep a car for 10, 12 years probably, I don't know if we're actually going to have the infrastructure for my electric car. I mean, I thought it was very interesting when Biden was pushing all these electric cars. I went by the Navy barracks rooms. I guess you call them barracks rooms in the Navy. I noticed there was a kid with a Tesla, and he had run an extension cord all the way out into the parking lot to charge his Tesla. So, many apartment buildings, many of the barracks rooms, many of the places on post, even though they were pushing electric vehicles, there wasn't the infrastructure for the electric vehicles. I was wondering, like, what would happen to all the old gas stations? Would they turn those in? Because in order to power all these giant charging stations, it takes some massive transformer electrical infrastructure to put all those amps going out in one spot. I mean, it's basic math. So comment down below, what do you think about the idea of your routine in an electric vehicle? I mean, let's hear from some of these other people.
They don't buy electric cars. They are not worth it. They are such a trap. They are just money pits, right? The fact that I already bought my car and now when I'm trying to sell it, it's 15 grand less than what I paid for like a year ago. I mean, that happens, whatever, it is what it is, right? But there isn't the infrastructure. There's no infrastructure for electric cars, right? You try and find a charger, guess what? It's broken. Your car starts bleeping, your car's gonna die. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Because there's no chargers around. Then you have to download this app, then you have to download that app. Like, when I first got an electric car, I can't lie, I done it because I wanted to save the planet, because I was a bit of a fucking eco princess. But now I'm just like, man, it. Like, do you know how many panic attacks I've had because I've broken down on the motorway? Because my car should get me to a destination and it just doesn't. Like, it is so much more expensive than having a petrol car, because you do not get the miles that you need. Like, it's not mile for mile. Like, I had somewhere to go. I charged my car Friday night. I came back, it just stopped charging. Just on its own. I called a guy and he's like, well, no, that's not supposed to happen. Okay, but it did. So they can't magically make my car charge. So now I have to wait 8 hours for my car to charge. Like, it's actually fucking ridiculous. 8 fucking hours until I can, and I'm going 120 miles and my car still won't do it, even though the car will tell me it has 200 miles. Like, I cannot stand having an electric car, but I can't sell it because I'm literally going to have lost 15 grand. So it's now my forever car and it's just going to keep depleting and keep getting worse. Just like,
I regret buying my Tesla. Never thought I would say this, but it messed up today. The screen has stopped working. I will just have to send in for a service request and see what can be done.
It makes me hate this car. I regret this so much.
So PSA to all new EV owners, or if you're thinking about buying an EV, please do your research on your specific car or just EV charging in general. Now, I know the creator's video that I stitched wasn't specifically talking about charging in particular. It's kind of just a myriad of things with his EV, but a lot of people jump into the EV lifestyle and they're not ready for it. And I was one of those people. I bought an EV not knowing how to charge, where to charge, or anything really related to it. I saw a few chargers on my way home from work and figured I would just charge there. But it's a massive learning curve as far as understanding where you're going to charge, how you're going to charge, how long it's going to take, how much it's going to cost. I could go much deeper in depth as far as the research that you need to do. So if you guys want that, please let me know. I can make a whole video about charging. But as from someone who relies on public charging only, it's a learning curve, and that it's going to take a lot of understanding and patience, especially with public charging. Now, if you have somewhere to charge at home at night, you're good to go, and the charging aspect of an EV is probably going to fit perfect with your lifestyle. But if you're going to rely on public charging like myself and many other people that I know, please do your research.
You know, I've said on many of the videos that I've made in the past on this stuff that insurance companies are going to put a 5th point on some of their inspections. You know, you have a 4-point, you've got the roof, electrical, you know, AC, hot water heater, etc., plumbing. Pretty soon they're going to put another one between solar panel and electric car plugs, okay? Because I've seen a couple $1 million mansions, multi-million-dollar mansions burn down recently because their Teslas caught on fire in the garage. Whether it was the connection or how they were charging it, or some of these bad batteries just imploding and catching on fire. Not necessarily Tesla, I'm just saying electric car in general. Hard to narrow it down to exactly what brand it was. Hashtag don't sue me. But I am seeing that they are a question for an insurance carrier because they could cause a fire. I've seen electric bikes catch on fire. I've seen electric scooters catch on fire. Can cause a fire. And they are going to want to inspect that car charger because there's so many amps being pulled on it, and rightfully so, because sometimes people just hook them up themselves and they don't know what they're doing. But and sometimes electricians don't know what they're doing because they're so relatively new.
Look at all these people over here, bro. Look. Everything you do drains the battery. It's the worst car I've ever had in my life. Look at all these.
5 reasons why you shouldn't buy an electric car. Number 1, sometimes it can be really hard to find a place to charge it, especially if you're not a Tesla owner. Driving around, looking. Some of them are broken, some of them are slow, some of them are full. That can be a problem. Number 2, you've got less cars to choose from. Electric vehicles, there's only so many. There's more and more coming out. There aren't quite the same selection as gas cars. Number 3, charging times. Pulling up, getting a tank of gas real quick and getting out of there, a lot faster sometimes than waiting for a charge. Although that technology is getting better and faster, it's still a lot slower than filling up a gas car. Number 4, they need specialized maintenance. You can't just roll the car into your garage and take the battery out. The flip side of that is they don't need much maintenance. But if you're a grease monkey, if you're a wrench, you're somebody that likes to really fix their own car, not much of an option there for you. Number 5, road trips. Not very convenient. More stops, longer stops. If you don't have access to the supercharger Tesla network, it takes a while. But overall, obviously, I think the pros easily outweigh the cons. What do you think?
One thing I saw with the last hurricane was that when everybody got on the road, there was not enough charging stations to refuel or recharge everybody as they were evacuating. How do you take hundreds of thousands of cars, get them on the road to run away from a storm or, riots or whatever's going on, and they take 20 minutes per to charge? With gas, you could technically just have, refuels on the move, With a charging station, you have to have the infrastructure. And I mean, don't get me started on the idea of charging during a natural disaster, because there's no way you could put that much power into a disaster area. But you can import gasoline, JPA, diesel fuel, and you can put a pump with a small generator on it, and you can fuel a lot of cars. The energy output of gasoline is huge. So until our infrastructure gets better, I don't see it happening. So many of the things to think about, and I haven't figured out how the government's going to do it, because they can't even do wireless internet anywhere. The government can't figure out how to fix the grid, can't even do a railway station. Heck, California can't even do their high-speed rail. That's taken them years, and if the government has anything to do with it, it'll never happen. They're going to have to incentivize the private world.
There used to be 2 reasons that I wouldn't buy an electric car. Now I have 3. First one, cost. They're expensive. And you mean to tell me that these politicians aren't lining their pocketbooks with this money? Okay. Second reason, batteries. When these batteries in these cars go bad, where are you going to put them? You're going to stack them in your backyard? Because they're huge. I don't want them in mine. Third new reason, and I never thought of it this way, control. If you're a bad girl or boy, or they or them, or they could turn your car off. Don't follow mandates? No car for you. You think they won't do it? They tried to take away people's livelihoods.
The footprint of these batteries, the things it takes to create these batteries, they almost offset the whole gasoline argument. The infrastructure, the footprint, there's so many things that go on to create a lithium battery or any of these batteries. It's pretty mind-boggling, and they don't last forever. And there's a lot of things going on. And 2, the idea of a smart car, be very careful of automation, because yes, they could shut your car off. There's been many movies out there in jest showing Teslas, a lot of these smart cars. They'll just geo-fence you to where your car will not work outside of a certain position. It will just turn off. I mean, we've seen many technologies that police have been rolling out to just pop your car and it shuts off. It's gonna happen. They will be able to restrict where you travel in the country with these smart cars. And that's why, like the other day, I was secretly saying I wish I had my old GMC truck still, where it had no computer in it whatsoever, other than a little electronic brain box about that big, just so the ignition system would work. Be careful what you ask for. Be careful. We've seen the government lock everybody down, and they can, and we've seen that most people were okay with that. You should question everything.
I'm ready to get rid of my Nissan Leaf. I can't. I bought a 2014 Nissan Leaf 5 days ago, y'all. I'm not an electric girl, and that's okay. I already messaged the girl I bought it from. I'm like, look here. I don't have anxiety. Never have, and I pray I never will. But this right here, finding a charger, thinking that I'm gonna have to sit there for an hour, yeah, that gives me anxiety. Let me be serious for a second. And if you're electric girly, please don't come for me in the comments, okay? I love y'all, and I'm over here trying to save the environment too. I got this car very quickly, within hours.
But is it saving the environment? In order to run the electric grid, you have coal turbines turning, okay? You have natural gas turbines turning to create steam, to create electricity. We used to have nuclear power. Now, I could totally get on board with the whole idea of nuclear power. People will say, oh, it's dangerous. It's not really. When they're not done correctly and they're not maintained correctly, they are bad and they can do bad things. But there's so much new technology out there to make this stuff pretty clean. But politicians will never get on board with it again because nuclear bad. And because the constituents think that it's bad, therefore politicians will think it's bad, because politicians, they usually don't know anything about what they're voting on. But I will say that if you could clean up the way electricity is made, then electricity would be the way to go. But we're not there yet. And the fact that we have to take oil from the United States to like China in order to get it refined to bring it back because we don't have enough refineries in America, that's another question too.
Price was great. The lady I was talking to was great. We spoke on the phone, and she's still great. She has actually reposted it for me on her, because I bought it off of Facebook. And fingers crossed. And she sent messages to everyone who had asked for it before me. Hopefully one of them are electric car boy or girl, because it's not me. And here are the reasons why. I think if I did not, first of all, I have a very young child. Let me get to the car. The car is beautiful, runs great. It's 2014. I wanted an older car. I got it for a really great price. If you want to know the price, let me know, because I'll share it. It only holds 60 miles fully charged. Now, luckily, I live on an island. So island life, like once I start going back to work, which is in August, my drive to work is 11 miles there, 11 miles back. Most days, that's all I'm going to do on weekdays. But also I'm not. Like Zara might have dance, gymnastics. I have a 6-year-old. So when I think about it, during the week, I probably won't have to charge out. I'll probably just charge in-house. I did not consider electricity bill. Okay? Thank you for whoever put that in my comment before. I live in Hawaii. Electricity is crazy. We're living with my daughter's dad right now. And he's all for the electric car idea. But now that we're really sitting and thinking about it, which I should have done, but I just wanted a car so bad that I was like, go for it.
That's another thing I didn't think about until I got my electric bike and my golf cart and everything, and I was computing like, how much is this raising my power bill? And if you go and look at your power bill, it will raise it. And you can tell how much your car is going to draw daily and then how much you're going to pay. You're getting it from one place to the other. It's either the gas station or from your power bill. You're going to have an energy cost, and you have to figure that out. And if you're driving a long ways, yeah, it might be less than maybe gas, but you're gonna have to say, okay, is it half or is it full price? How much am I driving? You are gonna pay the cost of energy. Like, you're not getting around it. You're just really kind of skipping the gas station.
Kia EV6, count your motherfucking days. I rented a car because my car has 130,000 miles on there. I need an oil change and some tires, so I didn't want to put it on the road. So I rent me a car, and when I get in there, the guy says, oh, we have this electric vehicle. You familiar with those? I'm like, no, but just let me know what I need to do, and I should be okay. So he tells me it takes about 20, maybe 30 minutes to charge, maybe 20 minutes the most. He shows me how to plug it in and all these things, right? So I get the car on 87%, and I'm just driving. So at about 80 miles until I needed to be charged, I decided to go charge it. Charge it at a Walmart. charge it to 80%, because at this time I don't know that I can change the settings to 100%. So I change it to 80%, right? So we driving, baby. And now it says that I have 50 miles until I need to charge. So I tell my daughter, I'm like, find the nearest charging station. All the ones she's finding is 30 minutes in the opposite motherfucking direction. I start panicking because I'm like, we got to drive 33 miles and we only have 50 miles until this car is completely, you know, done. So I'm flying back in the opposite direction. While I'm doing this, I'm watching the mileage just dwindle. So now we go from making it there with 24 miles to go, and we needed 22 miles to get to the charging station, to the miles just dwindling down, and now we have hardly no miles but 17 miles to get there, and I'm like at 10 miles until the car cuts off. My daughter's in the seat googling shit about the car, like, you know, if you slow down it'll conserve some of the energy. I turned off the air, I turned off the radio. I'm driving and the exit is a little further ahead, I can see it, and now we're at like 5%. We get off the exit, y'all, and the car just starts going from like 70 miles per hour and it just dwindles down. Now I'm going like 5 miles per hour. I turn at a light left and the car just stops. So I sit there and my hazard lights have been on for the last 10 miles, and I'm sitting in the middle of the street and cars are blowing, which is so fucking retarded because you see my hazard lights on. So I decide to turn the car off and try to see if it'll come back on. It does, and then I start creeping again. I'm 0.2 miles away from the charging station, and I'm praying to Jesus Christ that we can make it there. So then I get to another light, the car cuts off again. So I turn the car off and I turn it on again, and it comes on, and now I'm driving 5 miles per hour. I make a left, then I have to go to the end of the street and make another left, and when I do that there's a hill, so now I'm going down the hill and I'm just coasting, and then I can see the charging station a couple of feet away. I'm like, y'all, if this car stops again and don't start, we have to push it there. So we cruise on in and make it to the Walmart parking lot where the charging station is. And when I get there, I am flustered. My hands are shaking. I have yelled at everyone in the car. My oldest in the back talking about, you being so negative. I'm like, girl, shut the fuck up. Like, we is stuck. I will never in my life rent an electric vehicle. They will have to force me to buy one. I get they trying to, you know, do all this electric shit. This shit's dumb. Now, I don't know if Tesla do.
So what do you think about that? That was a great story that just kind of highlighted everything I was trying to say. Infrastructure is just not there. Until it is, I don't know if I could totally get on board with it. I like the idea. I just don't know if it's feasible. Politicians, they're going to get theirs before we ever get a fully electric grid that works. I mean, our power goes out all the time as it is. Range, charging problems, and depreciation. It seems like every 2 minutes that a battery needs to be changed out, or battery lifespan only lasts so long. As you use it, you go from 100% to 99 to 98 to 95 to 80, whether that's solar panels in your system. Go look at solar panels have a lifespan. Even your MacBook, go look at the battery health on your MacBook. Your cell phone has a battery health on it. We see these batteries don't last forever. 100,000 miles, 150,000 miles. I'd love to see how much a good Tesla gets. It all comes into question. I don't know if I could white knuckle it into where the charging station is when I went past 25 gas stations. When I'm on the interstate, I'm a nervous wreck if I get below a quarter of a tank, because I know the interstate could stop. I could get stuck, and my only choice is that one gas station that's up there on the right. And you're in the middle of nowhere. Odds of them have a charging station, 0. Especially if you're up in the woods somewhere and you start running low, because Everything in an electric car runs your battery down. Your AC, you're even charging your cell phone. But that's all I got, everybody. Comment down below. I want to hear your thoughts. Do you regret getting an electric vehicle? Do you not? And I'll see you guys in the next video. And if you happen to be looking for a real estate agent on the Gulf Coast of Florida, Alabama, my email is down below. I'll be happy to help you. And if you need a real estate agent anywhere in the country, I'll help you find one. I'll see you guys on the next video.